Hey everyone, Sarah here. Welcome to my art stream. Today we're going to be doing a drawing. I'm pretty excited. We're going to start doing some character development, and this is really great if you want to do illustrative work, especially if you're interested in like designing characters for a game or something more illustrative like comics or manga. Um, we're actually going to do a steampunk style animal today, a frog. Frogs are one of my absolute favorite animals because they are an indicator species, so kind of like the canary in the coal mine. Frogs let us know when there's a problem, especially with water pollution, because they breathe through their skin and it's very moist, like they always have water on them. So if there's an issue with pollution, when frogs, unfortunately, is when they start dying, then we know that there's a problem. So they're pretty cool. So I wanted to do a steampunk frog. I haven't really delved too much into steampunk myself, so this is going to be an adventure for both of us. But I'd like to go ahead and try, and it's just like everything else. Just because something is new doesn't mean you can't apply a method to it and tackle it from kind of an analytical, methodical approach. And I know that sounds very anti-art, but in reality, art is based off of a set of skills. So in order to do art, you have to build those skill sets. And in order to build those skill sets, you have to think a little bit methodically. So order and method, right? As Hercule Poirot says. Let's go ahead and take a look at the supplies that we're going to be using today. I'd like to cover those at the beginning of every lesson. So I've got a number 2 pencil here, and you'll notice, let me see if you can see that, but there's like a little HB right there. And what that means is that this number 2 pencils are right in the middle of the hard and the bold levels. So it's just a very middle of the road pencil, which makes it great for bubbling things in on test. But you can draw with it, and of course it has a built-in eraser, so that's a bonus. So I'm not going to be using this, but mostly because my lines, when I use a number 2 pencil, my lines don't show up enough for you guys to see them. So I'm going to be using a 2B. B means bold, and the higher the number, the darker the black, or gray rather. And with H, it means hard, so the harder the pencil, which means it doesn't spread as easily. So hard pencils are used for a lot of times for illustration, because you don't want the lines to go anywhere, especially if you're going to be inking it later, or for like architectural drafting, where you don't want it to smear. So H pencils don't really smear very well, which is a good thing, Also, they get considerably lighter and shinier as they go up because of the way the graphite is. So number 2's in the middle, or you can use anything in the B's. That's what I recommend for my drawing class. If you use anything in the H's, you're not going to be able to get some of the same effects that I have. Okay, so for anybody who just joined, all I'm doing right now is going over the supplies, and I was just mentioning you could just use a number 2 pencil and a piece of printer paper would work. If you want to get fancy, I've got this Gioconda artist set made by Koh-i-Noor. I highly recommend it. It's actually a really good set. It's got graphite pencils, 2B, 4B, and 6B. It's got lead pencils, levels 1, 2, and 3, 1 being the darkest. I've got a couple charcoal pencils, and then I have sepia tones. Sepia is that brown, and basically it just gives your drawing, it's a way of giving your drawing color without actually using a lot of color. It's a monotone. So I recommend this. It comes with the stick versions. It also comes with a spreader, which even if you just go buy spreaders, which I know Walmart has, craft stores would have them. I don't know what all's open. I know Walmart's open right now during the whole COVID-19 thing. So if you wanted to brave it, like if you needed to go for something else, whatever you need, maybe pick these up. They sell them pretty cheaply, like $2 for a pack of several. But these are called spreaders, and it's just tightly wrapped newsprint to where it actually is, you're basically applying paper to paper. So you could roll up another sheet of paper and do the same thing, or you could use your finger to spread, but these are very effective because you can get, because they're shaped, you can get down into the corners and stuff. Okay. It also comes with a kneaded eraser, which is nice because you can mold it to what you want, and you can, you know, get into like little corners and stuff. But the kneaded eraser doesn't always fully erase very well. So I also have a rubber eraser, and of course I have a pencil sharpener, which I recommend using a beauty pencil sharpener. So if there's a beauty supply store like an Ulta or Sally, something like that, their pencil sharpeners are relatively inexpensive, and they're very, very good, especially dealing with charcoal and things like that, because regular pencil sharpeners usually are pretty cheap and don't hold up to the heavier pencils. Okay, so today, as I said, we're going to be doing a steampunk frog. I'm going to be using a 2B pencil, but you can use your number 2 pencil. It's fine. Let's see. Also, I'm using a 9x12 drawing tablet. And let's see, the brand is Strathmore. I like Strathmore brand. They're pretty good. And inexpensive, so. All right, so let's go ahead and fold this up, open. Today we're going to be doing it in the horizontal or landscape orientation. And that's because our frog is kind of long. Okay. Hi, Rusikaya. I'm doing very well. How are you doing today? And welcome to my stream. So, we're getting adjusting just a little bit. Well, I am glad to hear it. Thank you for joining me. All you need is a number 2 pencil and a piece of paper if you would like to follow along. Today we are doing a steampunk frog. Now I will say, I'm glad you came on because you reminded me. If you look down at the bottom of my page, at the bottom of the screen here, you'll see my Discord invite. There is also a button somewhere on my page that says Discord, and if you click on it, that will take you straight to the Discord server. If you don't have a Discord account already, it'll just ask you to sign up. But that server is where we can share our art. You can share any art you want, but you can also share if you follow along with me today. But it's also where I post all of the reference photos that I use. So that way you can look at what I'm looking at to make the drawing. So anyway, please do that. Other than that, welcome to the stream, and we're about to get started. So we've got our paper in the landscape orientation, which means horizontal. Thank you. For some reason, my camera keeps going in and out of focus, so hopefully that will stop soon. I don't know why it's doing that, but what we're going to do is we're going to start out drawing the basic body of the frog. All right, so we're going to start out doing like kind of an oval for his head. And it doesn't have to be a pretty oval. Notice that I kind of messed up some of my lines. Now I'm going to go in and erase some of my lines, but mostly because I want you to see the actual shape that we're looking for. Not because if I was doing my own work, I probably wouldn't erase. Did you have a question? I normally don't erase. I kind of go off of Bob Ross's idea that there is, you have happy accidents. So like you don't really make mistakes. You just have happy accidents. So the only reason I'm erasing now is because I want you guys to see the true. Okay. Just so you know, that's not actually appropriate for this stream. I have children that watch this stream, so I would appreciate you not talking about things like that. Thank you. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and draw the body, which is round. And you can just make sketchy lines. It doesn't have to be perfect. That actually helps you make a better circle if you just do it kind of in a sketchy way. It's no problem. You didn't know. Okay, so now we're going to add, well, hi, Katie. Welcome. It's nice to have you on. Okay, so first we're going to start adding some things to this to kind of make our frog shape. Up at the top here, we're going to do like a little ridge, and this will be like the shape of its head. And then we're going to continue this. Thank you very much. Okay. So then we're just doing these general shapes on the back. So see, I did like kind of a hook here, and I came up and made this bump. All right. Then we're going to continue down, and it's just an extension of the back here. We're going to make like a little triangle coming up from the bottom and down from the top. Okay, then we're going to do right at the base of the head, we're going to do a large circle. And then we're going to do an even bigger circle right across where everything meets right here at the bottom. And I'm just making my lines very sketchy. Always blow, don't wipe. If you're using a number 2 pencil, wiping isn't as big of a problem, but anything higher than that in the B's, if I go to wipe, it will smear it. So it's really important that when you erase, to blow the eraser shavings away. Okay. So now let's go ahead and start working on the arms of the frog. So we've got our basic shapes here. All right, so we're going to come back and make kind of like a, maybe an ice cream cone kind of shape. See, it's going to look like a sideways ice cream cone a little bit. All right. So then we're going to come down from here, kind of at a slant. So we're going to go down towards the left. And we'll do another one. And this one's going to kind of curve out just a little bit, so it won't be exactly parallel. And then we'll just do a rounded shape there. It reminds me a little bit of maybe like a pony hoof. I am a My Little Pony fan, just putting that out there. I was informed that that's called being a Pegasister, so I guess that's what I am. All right, so we are going to do a back leg here as well. And just so you guys know, I'm like pretty mellow today, so I'm not my normal excited self. I mean, this is a good thing for me, right? I like feeling mellow, but I just wanted to give everybody a heads up because normally I'm pretty happy-go-lucky and excited, and you know. Today we're just gonna chill. We're gonna have a nice, wonderful, chill day. A meditative drawing. It's the best. All right, so we have like this weird elongated, but it's similar to the arm, but it's elongated because it's the back leg. And then we're going to come down. Let's see, we'll extend this just a little bit. and we're going to come down. And I'm very concerned that I'm too far down on my page. That's entirely possible. So my frog may go off the page. It happens. I didn't start far enough up. We'll see what we can do with that. Sometimes you can fudge it. Sometimes you can, you know, just make it work. All right. Get a drink of water. So now we're going to focus a little bit on the front area. So let's get the eye in there. So the eye is going to be nice and round because he's going to have aviator goggles on because he's steampunk. Steampunk equals aviator goggles. So we've got that. Then he's got that big, like the big protrusion that comes from his neck. So that's going to actually start on the arm and come all the way to the front. And let's see, it comes down just a little bit above where this leg ends. So I like to get my marks down so that I have an idea of where I want everything to go. And that is not fat enough, so I'm going to actually change my lines a little bit and let this bulk out a little bit more. All right. Here, now I'm just going to work on like where we're going to be putting the toes. Sorry, I started without telling you what I was doing. So I've got that. I'm going to do a little bit longer one that's going to come from kind of right next to it, you know, just a little distance. And it's going to come out like that. And then I'll do one over here. And it's going to come to about here. So I like to plan where my lines are going to start and end. That way you're not guessing. All right, so we're going to do the same here. Let's see, we've got a toe coming here. And then we've got another one coming here. Ooh, we are cutting it. Oh, so close. I think I'm going to be down in the, yep, I'm going off the page. So it is what it is, you know. I just got just a little bit too close. Okay, so we're going to connect this arm here. And we can round this out a little bit. We're going to connect this to this back leg here. And this is actually going to come up and spike back to the middle of the leg. And we're going to connect that. And let's see. We also are going to have this circle here. We're going to actually come down. Let's see. Starting from right, let's start from the arm. We're going to come out a little bit. And then this is actually going to curve down. There, like that. I'm going to erase this. Now I'm not erasing any of my guidelines yet. I want to wait until we go because you never know when you need your guidelines later on. You might need them for some other shape. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get from our back leg here. We've got a shape that comes up to about here and it's curved like that. And these are going to be some of the mechanics coming out of the back of the frog. And then we've got another one. Now I didn't do my end point because I wanted it to be pretty much the shape of this one. They're going to be pretty similar. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start adding to the form. I'm going to take another drink of water here. Always hydrate, guys. It's important. Okay, so let's start. Let's see, I want to do a couple little lines over here. So I'm just going to do a line, like a little one, and a little one there, because we're going to be able to see part of his feet from the other side. So let's get a little toe here, a little toe there, and these are just kind of ovals, maybe circles. I like mine to be ovals. The toe on the inside is smaller. The toe coming out towards us is going to be the largest. That might be a little too large. Let's bring that in a little bit. Let's rein that in. There we go. Get another circle there. All right. Remember, the inside one is the smallest. This is a little guy. And then, of course, mine goes off the page, so you can see part of the toe, but we're not going to be able to see all of it. All right, now right here, where I rounded this out a little bit, there's going to be a joint, a circular joint. So let's just go ahead and get that in there. There's where I rounded this out back here. There's going to be a circular joint there. And this one's a little bit bigger than the actual, like it's going to go outside of the lines a little bit. All right, so we're gonna do some little squares here. Maybe rectangles, rather, might be a better. The one in the back is gonna be slightly smaller. And actually it'll be slightly taller too. Just a little bit, not much, but it's gonna be slightly taller. Okay. And let's see. What else do we have? Let's go ahead and shape the nose. So this is going to come out a little bit like a snout, and then it's going to curve down. Then we've got a line that's going to go from, it'll actually curve a little bit right here, and then it's going to go there. Now when you want to get a straight line, the best thing is, instead of moving your wrist, you actually take the pencil and move your whole arm. That's important. That's how you get straight lines. Okay. We've got a couple little doohickeys coming out of the back here. So coming from this area here, let me just get these lines better drawn here so we can see. All right, we've got one that starts kind of in the middle of that hump that we just made. Starts there, and it's going to go tilted back. We're just getting the general shapes there. And then on the other side where this starts, this line here, we're going to make a parallel line. Okay. Then just a little ways down, we're going to do the exact same thing. Now this one's going to be just slightly smaller. Not much, but just a tiny bit narrower. And that's because our it's receding into the background. It's going away. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm very excited about this because I don't do a whole lot of illustrative work, but I want to get better at it. And a friend of mine actually recommended that maybe I start doing more digital art, which I don't have a drawing tablet right now. It's on my list to get, but of course, the ones that are very high quality are very expensive. And you know, I'm a college student, so what do you want from me? So we'll see whenever I'm able to get a drawing tablet. I think that that would be good because then I can actually start showing drawing techniques using the tablet. And it is a little bit of a different animal, no pun intended, but it's something that I think could be more applicable, especially for, you know, someone who's wanting to make game characters. But I will say that it's important to know how to draw with pencil and paper. Like, that's actually important. Most artists start out doing this. There are not very many artists that just go on the computer and don't do anything else. And if they do, they end up doing traditional art at some point, because this teaches you the foundations of how to conceptualize objects or characters, or, you know, faces, organic objects especially. It teaches you to conceptualize that, and so you need that as a foundation before starting to go crazy, you know, on your computer making drawings. So it's important to know how to do pencil and paper drawings. Okay, let's start adding in some detail. All right, I think we've got everything pretty much laid out. Okay, so I'm going to start with the goggles, his steampunk aviator goggles. All right, so we have this circle here. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually, right inside the lines of the circle, we're going to do as best as you can around, like, do a circle. Now, if you want to be exact, you do not have to be exact. You know, like, this isn't a perfect circle that I just drew, but it looks pretty good, right? So it doesn't have to be exact. And in fact, you can make it sketchy and always erase the lines that you don't want. And in fact, because this is so sketchy here, you know, we're going to be erasing out some stuff. All right, so on the side, we're going to do another circle that runs parallel for the most part. It's going to run parallel all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom. And then it's going to start going out a little bit. Okay, so get it to there, and then I'll show you what it's going to do. It's going to actually bulge out and come back a little bit. Same thing at the top. It bulges out a little bit and then curves down. All right, and then we're going to connect these. And we've got one goggle. How about that? All right. Now, let's go ahead from this goggle. We're going to come forward, starting like right about here. Okay. And we're going to make a little curved triangle. Like that. From here is going to come forward and curve down. This is going to be kind of part of his mask. It's like he's got a mask on. All right. Now from the side here, from like the top of his glasses, we're going to have like kind of a curved line that this is going to connect. This is going to be his, you know, the connection part of the goggles that goes over the nose. And then a little farther up, we're going to have the other part of that. Now, notice that there's some guidelines here, so I'm going to just erase those guidelines out. Okay, now we have to have the goggle on the other side. We're not going to get real detail with it because we're looking at the back of the goggle, right? So starting just a little bit to the right of wherever your second line was there. So a little bit to the right. So we're going to start here. I'm just making a little mark where to start. And we're going to end a decent amount to the left. So not as close as this one is of the other side. Like that. Just like a little hill. Now he does have this line that comes through, comes down, and when it gets close to his nose, it curves down. Now, from my shape before, that actually found my shape, so I don't even have to erase that guideline because it fit with it so perfectly. And then we also are going to have a little nostril, so it's just going to be like a little kind of a apostrophe, almost like a backwards apostrophe. Maybe like a little, it's a little line on that side. All right. So let's keep adding some detail here. So we've got coming off the back of the head. Let's see. Let's give him like a little ridge here on the forehead. Just a little one, just like a little bump. And then this is going to curve down. I'm going to erase some of my guidelines that were there from earlier. Okay, now we're going to make the back part of the goggles. So let's do like a little rectangle that comes there. Like a little rectangle there. And then we're going to do two things. We're going to do the top line, which will come back and kind of connect with the back of our head there, and then we're just going to scoop up to meet that line that we just made. Okay, now here's the trick. So we're going to start right about where this line meets here. We're going to come out, curve down, and basically come straight down here. Now, you're wondering, I bet, why aren't we going to go ahead and connect it? Well, we're going to put some other stuff there, and it's going to look like it's covering that area. All right, I also want to go ahead and define this line here. So I'm going to start this, and it's just going to curve straight over. I'm just erasing some guideline areas. Straight over to this thing coming out. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get in some parts here that need to be defined. So there is a line that's starting here that's going to come back. And see how that touched that. So we didn't even have to draw that line because it's already going to be there. It comes here to this area that was curved, and we're going to emphasize that curved area. Now I'm going to go ahead and erase the guidelines that were right there. Okay. Now let's deal with this mouth area here. So it's going to come straight down, like we just a little line that comes straight down, and come in a little bit. Then it's going to curve into that balloon area under his chin. From there, we can actually go ahead and erase this guideline here. In fact, I think we can erase all of the guidelines inside that balloon area. There we go. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do is this is going to be, it's not a straight line that goes across. What it's going to do is we're going to make kind of little arches. So we're going to make a little arch, and then it's going to have a rounded bottom. And then we're going to make another little arch, and then a rounded bottom. And the same thing, we're just going to do this all the way across. Try to make your arches similar, because remember, this is like kind of a mechanical robot, a mechanical frog. So try your best to make your arches all kind of the same width. And I don't even know what happened there. I may need to sharpen my pencil. Or just turn it and use another side. That works too sometimes. All right, I don't know where to stop, so we're just going to stop kind of around there. You don't have to go all the way to the end. We're going to be erasing some of this. Okay. So from this circle here, we're going to actually have, let's see, it will come down. We did go way too far, so I'm going to erase some of this. We can always redraw it in. Okay, so starting kind of at the end, see where the goggles started there? If you kind of come down just a little bit, that's where your circle is going to start. So it's going to come to about the middle of this shoulder blade. And we're just going to try to make a circular, looks like a circle there. Okay, now we can go ahead and finish this line. All right, from here we're going to do a second circle, and see how I'm leaving just a little bit of room. We're going to do a second circle right inside that other circle, and it will follow exactly. It is exactly parallel. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get our lines, because the whatever that thing is called underneath the frog, its bloated neck, has ridges in it because it's supposed to look like a dirigible, right? Like a hot air balloon, like the Victorian looking balloons. It's supposed to have that kind of bellows look to it. If you don't know what bellows are, those are something you can use to pump air into like a fire, for example. Okay, so starting probably right about here and coming to right about here, we're going to do a curved line. I'm drawing several lines because I didn't like the way my first curved line looked, so that way I can shape it It's okay to do sketchy lines because that's how you get it to look exactly how you want. So that's my sketchy line. All right, we need another one. So this one is going to come to about here. And it's going to start right above the toes. So it curves. And I like this curve better, so I don't need to do any sketchy lines. I actually like the way that looks. Okay. One more. This is going to come to right about here on the toe. And so this is what you're looking for. You're looking for other things in your drawings to kind of connect where things go. And it's going to come right to about there. So it's just going to curve a little bit. There, just like that. I'm just rounding this out a little bit more. Okay, so we've got those areas down. Now, let's start working on the arm here, this arm. So first and foremost, it's pointy. So the point is just a little bit above where this ends. So I'm going to put this point here. And then you just connect it to your shape. So I'm going to connect it to my shape here, just like that. And then you can erase out your guidelines. And now you have a new shape. However, I would really like for the remainder of it to stay rounded. So we're just going to continue that around. And again, you can erase guidelines if you had any there. Now in the middle of this, we've got two circles. There's going to be one small circle. And then there's going to be another circle that's slightly bigger. Now this one is not going to be exactly parallel. It's going to start small on this side. And it's going to kind of get bigger on the other side. Not too much bigger, but just a little bit. I don't know if this is characteristic of steampunk or not. I'm not actually well versed in steampunk, but it's how it's drawn in the reference photo, and it makes it look kind of cool, so I'm going with it. All right, now we have right past this end line here, we're going to have a band. So it's just going to follow the exact shape. Just do that band. And then it's going to connect there. Now, this circle here, let's see. I feel like should be a little bit more of an oval based on the picture. So I'm going to bring that in just a little bit. And what we have is this is going to continue back. And then we have a section that actually comes up a little bit higher. And comes down on the other side of that oval. Hopefully that made sense. Then this is going to come down past this line here. It's going to come down and it's going to scoop like that. And this is going to make this look like a joint here. So I'm just erasing out some of my guidelines here. And I accidentally erased some of my bolt to there. So get that back in there. All right. So on the other side of this little U that we made here, we've got another line that starts. And we're just going to follow that. We're not going to go all the way down for yet, just yet. For yet. What kind of language is that, Sarah? All right. We've got another line here that comes down. Now this one has like 2 lines parallel to each other. I'll hold that up so you can see that a little better. All right. Now on this other side, we're just going to continue this down. And there's going to be kind of an arch that's going to connect these. All right. Then we're going to have another band. Now this one's going to start just inside of that arch. And it gives it a look of like that this is some kind of sheath that fits over. So we'll bring this line down. And we're going to have another band here. Another arch. I'm trying to follow the same arch as the thing above it. Just trying to match that up. I did not do it that successfully, so we're gonna, there we go. Now this is going to continue down. And remember we made this a little bit spread out. Just come straight down. This over here is actually going to curve in towards the middle right here, the middle of that line. It's just on the right side of that middle toe. And this is going to arch up. Just a very slight arch, not much. Not much, just slight. And then it's going to arch the other way too. And I think I want that arch to start a little higher. That's good enough. We're going to leave it. It's a little bit off from where I wanted it to be, but that's okay. We're going to leave it like that. So that's our little end before we start the toes. All right. Now, let's see. I think that's all we're going to do for that area for now. Well, let's go ahead and work on the toes. I'm going to get some water. Let's work on the toes. All right, so we've got this line here. We're going to do a sketchy line that comes up right to the edge of that peak there. that little corner there. And it's going to come right below the circle. Let me see if I can get you a clean line there so you can look at that. Right below that circle. And you can continue that circle around. That circle then we're going to have, let's see, coming from the end of that circle, we're going to have another kind of bulb that comes out, and it's going to follow the shape of the circle. All right, let's do this second line. I'm going to erase this guideline here. Okay, so we're going to have another line that starts about here. And it's going to come out, let's make this nice and dark. It's going to come out to right below, just like this one, right below the top of that circle. And it's got a little curve to it. This one, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to bulge out a little bit. Now remember, this is a bigger toe, so it's going to actually have, it's going to be a little bit thicker. It's going to come down like that. Now, between these two, like right where that starts, to right above this line over here, we're going to just do like a little arched line. This is going to be the webbing of the foot, because these are frogs. And then we're going to connect here. All right. Let's go ahead and get this side of the toe done. So coming down, we're going to do kind of a little circular area here. And let's shape that now. Maybe has a line that comes up there. It's like a little circle inside of it. Okay, this is going to curve down. We're not going to go all the way to the toe. We're going to leave just a little bit of room. This will make our identify our circle a little bit more. Kind of draw that in. And actually, I want to erase this guideline here, because we won't be using that. And really, we won't be using this guideline either. I think those were mostly just to get the toes in the right place. Okay, so we're going to do that same bulbous thing, except for we'll be able to see the front of this one even more because it's facing us. And it's going to come down and be a little bit fatter because it's closer to us, like that. Now from right below the top there, same thing, we're going to come up. Do our arched line like that. And this one, it's going to come up, but we're going to actually see it curve there. Now let's go ahead and add, these are the kind of nail beds are supposed to look like screws. So we're just going to add little lines going across the top of them. And see, we can make them go different directions. Oh, hello, little guy. Got a little something here. Gnat or something. Who knows what it is. I live in the country, so live in the country in Florida. There's plenty of bugs to be found here. Okay. And then this last one, it's going to go over the top and we won't see all of it. All right. Okay. Now, right here, we're going to kind of complete the body. So let's get that line drawn nicely. And then instead of going all the way to the end, I'm going to actually curve around here and it's going to meet right about here. Let me see if I can make that line a little bigger. Right about there. Like maybe to the back part of this bolt here. So it's going to curve up like that. And we're going to continue it on the other side. Now I don't want to go too far because we're going to be doing stuff with the back leg, so I don't want to go too terribly far. Since we're doing these bolts, let's go ahead and get our bolts done for some of these other. And these kind of curve, you know, the bolts curve a little bit. And let's see, this one has a bolt going. That. Okay. While we're here, let's go ahead and draw our seam. And we're just going to put 2 little dots right there. That's our seam. Look how robotic this is starting to look, right? Just by adding a few nuts and bolts. Okay, so coming from this arm, that we've got this line here that we drew earlier. We're going to darken that line a little bit. And I'm not going to go all the way across, but I want to go ahead and do another curved line here to make it look sectional. And we're going to erase out the line from inside the frog. There. Okay. I think we can continue this back. All right, let's work on this back leg here. First and foremost, I'm going to bring it forward just a little bit. That's why I stopped this line here, because I had a feeling I was going to want to bring it forward. Frogs have very powerful hind legs because they can jump. So I'm going to curve this around. We can race out our guidelines here. All right. There we go. All right, first of all, let's do a circle kind of right in the middle. And from this, we're going to arch up, and this is what's going to go back. Got my eraser handy. I'm like ready to go, ready to erase. Okay, right about here, yeah, right about here, we're going to have a line that comes across, and it's going to go just slightly bigger. Again, we're looking like we've got like these metal parts that have been put together. So by coming out just a little bit, now all of a sudden that looks like a metal component. Okay. So this is going to come up, and it's going to actually spout out just a little bit. Come down. I'm going to erase that. The guidelines there. Now back here, we have a couple things going on. So one, we've got this round area. So bring that down. Just bring that on down. And then this is going to go back around and connect. Oops. I went to go use the eraser on the back of my pencil. That won't work for the type of pencil I'm using. It has no eraser. Okay. Let's draw another circle inside of this. This is going to be more of a like, rather than a circle, maybe more of an oval. And this is going to have some depth to it. So this is actually going to have like almost like a moon. I'll hold that up so you can see that. See how it creates like kind of a crescent moon shape? And then we'll do our little screwdriver kind of lines there. There we go. Okay, so let's bring this down. This is going to arch and then come down like that. Then it's going to curve up a little bit and come to the back here. Then this line is going to come straight up. So whatever curved lines we had in there, we're going to get rid of. All right. Agua, hydrate. Look at this frog though. It's like really coming along. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. This is exciting because like I said, I haven't done this before, but I haven't even really done steampunk before, and I was a little intimidated by it. I'm always a little intimidated by illustration because it's not the style I learned on. It's a little like playing jazz on the piano. I was a classically trained pianist for, gosh, 15 years. So, you know, and I continued to play based on that classical training after that. So now that I want to start doing some composing using more of a jazz style, it's a struggle for me because, first of all, it scares me a little bit. You know, it's not something that's familiar. And it also, you know, there's like a little bit of self-efficacy thing. Self-efficacy is how much you believe that you can do something, that you're able to do something. And I normally have a high level of self-efficacy in most things. I believe in myself quite a lot, but when you're encountering something, especially when you're really good at the other thing, like I'm really good at classical piano, so switching over to jazz and like more of an improvisational style is scary in so many different ways, because I'm coming from somewhere where I already know I'm good, right? There's no question. I don't have to think about it. But this new thing, I can go ahead and tell you I'm not good right away. And that's scary, you know, to that learning curve and stuff. So it's exciting that this is coming along as well as it is, because illustration is a little bit of that same thing for me. So I appreciate that you guys are joining me in this journey, and that we're journeying together. All right, let's go ahead and get these legs drawn. Now, this toe goes off the page, so I might not have even drawn this where it was supposed to go. It's entirely possible. So we're just going to go off the page there and not worry about it for just right now. We'll get the other side. I'm going to come down. It kind of curves in a little bit. I might just be able to see it. I might just. There. All right. If you did yours further up, it's going to be similar to the toes we did here. Okay. So there's a couple of things. We've got, well, let's do a little bit more detail up here, because that's going to determine how our legs are drawn in. So, all right. So we've got a line here. It's not going to be right where this, I'm going to erase this line because that's not where it's going to be. That was our guideline from earlier. Going to start right about here and end right about here. It's going to arch up and then come down like that, because we're looking at this from a slightly different angle. Then we're going to have another one back here. This is a very sketchy line, so let me just clean that up. So we'll start there. And maybe right about there is where we're going to end. Okay. And remember, we're kind of arching up and then coming down. That isn't what I want it to look like. So I feel like maybe I just put that a little bit too far. So let's just move that up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay. All right, for this circle here, we're going to do another circle in the middle. And it's the exact, it runs exactly parallel to the bigger circle. And we'll go ahead and put our lines in it. Remember, they curve just a little bit. Okay, now we have this thing that comes down from here. So let's just do, starting right about here on the circle, we're going to do just kind of a, it's going to be a mustache looking. So we're going to come down on this side the same way. It's like a curved. Maybe it looks kind of like shoulders if this were a head. Then This is going to, these are going to have a rounded bowl to connect the two. Okay. So I've got another little line coming down from here. And this is going to connect up. And in fact, no, that's okay. We're going to leave that. Because remember we had this point over here? That's what this is. Okay. On this side, it's going to curve down. Just make a rounded shape that's going to end over here. There we go. Go on, little guy. Okay. And let's see, right here, we're going to have this other side of the circle. I'm going to give it a little bit of a lip. And then I'm going to reshape this so it's just a little more rounded. We'll just continue that line back. There we go. Okay, now we can go ahead and get our lines drawn from here. Okay, so starting, this line was actually kind of in the right place. So let's get our circle nicely drawn here without any extra guidelines and stuff from before. It's more of an oval than a circle. It's our toe. And we'll just draw our line from there. Okay, just like we did these other ones, we're going to kind of scoop out here. And around, and remember it's fatter as it comes towards you. Okay, let's go ahead and get the second one done. So this one starts right about there. Let's just make sure our circle is nice and formed. All right, and we're coming to about right here. There we go. There we go. All right, so this one's going to bulk out a little bit. Now, mine's going off my page, but just remember that this side is a little fatter. And this is actually going to continue all the way up to this. All right, and we are going to do our that curved line. That's going to be the webbed footing. Same here. Now remember, it starts just a little bit past where that connects, like that. And then this is going to continue up. Okay. Ta-da! All right, we've got a couple little things that's going to happen back here. First of all, this maybe actually comes in a little bit. We're gonna, maybe it wasn't the straight line I thought after all. That's okay, we can leave this here. fact, we're going to make this just a little bit fatter. And I'm going to use my kneaded eraser so I can get in here and erase out just that area. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually make, this is going to look like a band. Remember how this is looking like it's a piece that's like fit over? Well, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to, starting right about here, we are going to curve this down like that. So we're making like a little backwards C. Then, starting a little bit farther down, we're going to curve that and meet that C. And then we're going to take our eraser. Now I accidentally erased a little bit of my C, so I need to get that back in there. And y'all, look at that. Now it looks like a component that's attached. This is the drawing, man. This is how easy it is that it's little steps. It's not, you know, drawing this whole thing exactly the way it looks from the beginning. You do all these guides and everything, and it just works out. That's what I love about it. Okay. So, let's see. What else? Let's go ahead and work on these back pieces here. So they come up. Remember, we did these curved lines. These are very transformer looking, in my opinion. That's my transforming sound. You want me to do it again? I like the Transformers. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of sometimes sided with the Decepticons. Sorry. Like, some of the Decepticons, man, are just like cool in how annoying they are. Like Starscream. Oh my god. So annoying. That very high pitched, you know, just terrible voice. But it's great. He's like so good at being evil. Like, you have to really appreciate the you know, the dedication to his craft. I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you sided with the Autobots. I'll tell you, my favorite Autobot was Bumblebee, because he talked funny, and I have a thing for voices and accents and funny speech in general. I just like it. It's interesting to me. So, you know, I was a little bit partial to Bumblebee. Plus, he was so sweet. Just like a super good guy. Okay. So, we come in here, and we're doing like a curved line down. And then it's going to jet back out. Then we'll use that kind of box that we made earlier. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the other one. Which, I said that it ended higher. I think it should end lower. I think the one closest to us should end higher. So we're going to bring that down a little bit. Okay. So kind of a similar thing. Go on, little gnat. Okay. Come down. And it should come down just slightly lower than this one, if you're for a reference. This one scoops up a little bit because we're looking at it from the side. then it's going to come down. Like that. So I'm going to erase my guidelines. All right. Ta-done. Okay, so in front of this, we've got a couple things going on. We've got this kind of circular shape. I don't know what it is yet, but it's a shape. I think it's going to be some kind of gear. All right, then we also have the back. So we haven't really finished this back yet. So let's go ahead and get this drawn in. I'm going to come straight down to the leg, like that. So we can erase whatever guidelines we had there. All right. All right. Let's do this. We've got this guy here. Right past that, we're going to have a circle. Right past that, we're going to have another circle, but it's going to be a little bit more of an oval. And then we're going to do just one more. And it's smaller because it's going back. Okay, so we're going to draw a line connecting these. And then this line is going to continue all the way down to the back of the frog. Now where these bolts meet, we're going to have, now I'm starting this a little bit to the right of this line here because I don't want it to look like it's connected. So I'm starting it just a little bit to the right. And then we're going to continue this curved up. That's fine. Want it to curve a little bit. I was just checking to see how much it curved. Okay, and then this one is going to start right about here. And continue on this side. And then apparently there's not one for that bolt. It's just an extra bolt. Okay, so we've got all of that. Let's see, what else? Let's go ahead and start forming these guys up here. These kind of exhausts is what it looks like. It looks like exhaust. So let's go ahead and get our lines and determine where we want it to end. I'm thinking I actually want it to curve down just a little bit. Gives it like an exhaust pipe kind of look. And we are going to draw, little lines going across there. Okay, let's do the same for the other one. This one's going to be a little taller because it's closer to us. And then we're going to do that same curved line. All right. And then we'll do another line here. There we go. Very quiet chat today. That's okay. I hope it's because everybody's drawing. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't put our... let's go ahead and get our little screwdriver thingies. This one we can't really see. We'll just have to pretend. Okay. I think we're done with that section. If at any point you need to just stretch, please feel free to do so. You know, give your arms a nice... Oh man, that triggered a yawn. Oh, excuse me. Nice stretch. I turn in my chair. Turn this way. It's important to do stretches, you know, when you're doing artwork, especially since we have a tendency to hunch over. So even artwork, working on a computer, any of that, you wanna, you're always hunching. So it's good to sit up straight and stretch every once in a while. Okay. Let's get going on some details in these legs. Okay, we've got a line that's going to start right here and end right there. So let's just curve that baby right there. All right, we're going to do another one. This one's going to be a little bit farther. Okay. One more. So now you're going to notice it's starting to curve back a little bit. Oops, kind of messed that one up. Sorry about that, guys. Another one. I did some erasing, so I want to just clean up that line there. There we go. And we'll leave that back part there. Okay. Now, let's see. We've got, coming down from the front, we've got just like a little kind of pod shape. It's like a, I don't know what you would want to call it. Kind of like a long, skinny fingernail or something. I don't know. Inside that, there's going to be two little circles. There's one there. And one there. All right. Down here in this guy, we have two circles that kind of look like nostrils to me. Like that. Nostrils in the legs. I know, it's weird. But it's steampunk. Okay. I don't want to do any shading just yet. We're going to wait on that. But I do have, coming up from this bottom corner here, like right where that weird bulb shape is, we're going to have just like a, almost like a blade of grass. Similar to that. Maybe you want that to be a little skinnier. But you know what? it's the size that I made it. So take that, drawing. All right, then we're going to have another one that's actually going to come up here. So these are like, it's almost like there's ripples in the metal. That's what I'm thinking. Kind of looks like. There's another one right here even. Okay. All right, so we're going to get a band in here. So we have this here. We're going to draw another line. It's going to be parallel. And then from this, we're going to have these kind of long teardrop shapes. We'll do one that's kind of going off the cuff there. We can't see it. All right, and then we're going to have, this does not have to match up, a line coming back there like that. We're going to have 3 of these. Again, they don't need to match up with this because there's a different number. Like so. On the inside of this guy here, we're going to have some little lines. I'm going to hold this up so you can see it. See right there, we've got 2 little lines, similar to what we're doing here, but just like inside there. Then we're going to have some more. I'm going to go ahead and do these, and then I'll hold it up so you can see it. So right there. All right. So down here on this cuff here on the frog, we're going to have a parallel line that comes all the way around. It's going to look like it curves around. Sorry guys. It's going to look like it curves around. Like that. And then that comes up there. There will be a line here that comes down. That's interesting. Well, done. Okay. Then from right here, we're going to have a very thin line, similar to these lines over here. We're going to have a very thin line that comes up and then comes back down. And this is going to give the illusion that there's a side here, that this goes down, rather than just being all one curved piece. All right. Let's see. Oh man, I bumped up to 5 viewers. Welcome, whoever has joined. Kazmira, nice for you to join me. Thank you. B. Punsky, see you're on there too. Thank you very much for joining. Okay. So our back leg here is starting to really look very industrial. All right, let's go ahead and get some details in these whatever transformer things that are coming out of the back. First and foremost, there's like a little knob or something that comes off over here. Also, we're going to draw in another little circle there, and that makes it look maybe like a gear or something like that. Let's see, there's like another little knob on that side. Okay, so first things first, we're going to start drawing a line that goes up, and then it's going to go in like that. Then we're going to draw another little line right next to it. That goes the other way, so almost like a T. Let me hold that up so you can see that. See, like a T's that way. Then this guy, this line here is going to continue back. And we're going to mimic this shape. There. Now, we are also going to take this shape here and come down on the other side of our back so it looks like it has two lines there. Then in the middle, we're going to do... Oh, Big John, hey! Hey, cuz, welcome. I got that link you sent me earlier. I think it was a band, but I didn't fully understand what it was, so I didn't write you back just yet. It's the end of the semester for me, so I'm very busy. But I did get your link. Okay. Now we're going to take this part up here, and we're going to draw a line that goes straight up to that corner. So we're creating the corner. Then we've got this other little line here. We're going to draw that up almost parallel, except for at the top, it's going to kind of jut out. Just gives it some texture for it to go out like that. All right, now we're going to refresh this line here. Because it got a little wonky somewhere along the line there. So we're going to redraw that. So this line here comes down. This line here is parallel to it. And there you go. Ta, done. All right, now let's do this one, this guy over here. It's going to be very similar. So at the top here, we're going to have like this kind of weird shape. And it's going to come down. Now remember, we're looking at this one from the side. So it's going to come down and then go back. This curves down here. There is, let's see, we've got this curved part here. I'm going to erase that previous line I had there. Okay. Now coming up from the bottom here, we're going to do that same parallel line that we had here. Come in, and then we're going to scoop up just halfway. We don't have to go all the way up. Then we'll do our parallel line in the back here, and these are going to meet each other. Let's see, we'll just do some extra lines up here just to show that there's stuff going on. It doesn't have to be so well defined. Okay, and then of course we have our thing in the middle there. Ta-done. Now we've got this part done. All right. We'll go back in there and do a little bit of shading, but I want to keep moving. All right. So next, let's see. What are we going to do next? Next, let's come up to the front. We're going to start to embellish a couple of areas up here. All right. So first of all, there's like these little kind of dots that go all along this. Here, I'll hold this up so you can see. So you've got these little dots here that are going to go all around the edge of that. Some of them will go kind of off behind things so you don't see them. So it's only half a dot in that case. All right. Now there is another circle inside of this. So it's going to be parallel. And then another circle up at the top here. And this one's going to have our screwdriver, our flathead, little lines there. All right. Let's see what else we've got. Okay, I think we're good. Let's do the bellows. So now our bellows have a little bit of a double line here. So we're going to very lightly, this is extremely lightly, we're going to do a second line. Excuse me. Then we're going to do very gently, we're going to do some kind of curved lines that go up to, here I'm going to hold this up so you can see it. Some curved lines that go up to the top of the thing there. As they go to the right, they're going to start curving slightly the other way. So I'll show you. Okay. Now, we're going to do the same thing here, very lightly. Do a second line. We can go ahead and do our second line for this one too. Since we're doing second lines, okay. All right, let's get our lines going. Now, these are roughly going to match up, but they're going to be going a different direction. So they're going to be curving out. So they might look like they're a little bit past. So we need to make this line a little bit a little bit straighter so that it, there we go. That's kind of hard to do. Okay. And the last one. That. All right. And then we do have another little set of lines here. I'm going to do a double line just slightly in the back here. And we do have just another little set of lines. And actually this should be curving, I guess, a little bit. It's okay. All right. Now, if you have a colored pencil, this would be a good time to get it, because we're going to start adding a little bit of color. I'm going to be using my red chalk pencil, but if you have like a red pencil, this would be good to do. You don't have to. You can actually do it with your regular pencil is fine. But we're going to start doing a little bit of shading. So I'm going to come in here, coming along the back, and I'm going to shade in that whole back area. And what it does is it's actually going to start bigger and then gradually get narrow as it goes. And then I'm going to put a little bit of red on each of the little lines there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, and just slightly shade just a little bit on the inside here. Not go all the way in. Like that. All right. This one I'm going to do a little bit with my pencil first. So I'm going to shade just a little bit with my pencil. And all I'm doing is shading right up against this line here. Alright. Now I'll come in with my red pencil. Kind of just go over those areas. It makes them appear darker because I'm now mixing the darker colors. So I'm going to erase some of these lines here in the middle. Not completely erase them, but just make them so they're very hard to see. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and do these. So I'm only doing the middle part, like the outside lines you can still see. This makes it look more worn, like something Victorian, for example. All right. And up at the top, I'm going to have very light red. Just kind of coming down. We can blend that later. All right, so let's do the same thing up here. The art of blending really has to do with, and shadow and everything, has to do with not going very hard. Like, don't do too much pressure at first. Because you can always add more. But otherwise, then you have to erase things out. Do a little bit coming down from the top. All right, red. And I'm trying to kind of go inside each of the areas. Like that, where the lines were. Then it gives it like that dirigible look, like those are actually maybe something that's like metallic. Okay, so we're gonna blend this. I've got my blender. I'm just coming in and just blending it together and blending it with everything else. And I'm blending in the direction of the bellows. It's like in the direction of the area. Like that. Almost forgot to blend this part here. Okay, and then we'll do our last part up here. So remember, blend in the direction of the little stripes that we created earlier. Just blend up and down rather than like a circular motion or anything like that. That's going to give it the more realistic effect. And you're naturally, if you're doing it in the sections, you're going to naturally kind of skip over a little bit of an area. And then it gives it, you can see those lines. Okay. So let's see, where else? All right, we're going to start doing the toes. So the toes are going to have, let's see. I'm going to have a line kind of coming in there. Maybe a couple coming in over here. Do some lines here, like a line there. Oh man, I missed this toe. I missed these toes over here. They're just still sitting there looking pathetic. let's fix that. So let's get our circle nice and good. And this guy's gonna be, all right. And then last one, got our little guy over here. He's going to come down, and then there'll be a slight little web. Okay. So over here, I'm just going to put some general shading there. I'm going to do some really light general shading here. Like really light. Some shading up here. Kind of like we did with the bellows, just at the top and the bottom is where we're doing the shading. Okay. Now we're going to come in, we're going to do a little bit of red on those lines that we did. All right, and then we're going to lightly shade with the red in both sections. Blending it with the dark, with the black, just makes it look a little bit more natural, so it's not just pure red. Okay, then we're going to take our blender and blend all the way across. Again, remember, we're going in the direction. Once your spreader gets a little bit dirty, then it's easier to blend. There. Okay. Let's see what we got. I know for the glasses, we're going to do some shading, and this is the direction's important. It's kind of some lines going across here. Because we want it to look like goggles. So I'm going to spread this. All right, so let's do a little shading right here. That was maybe a little too much shading. We'll probably use the dirty spreader for some of this. There's going to be a little bit of shading back here because it's the back of his head. I'm going to do a little bit of shading right here and right here. And then I'm going to put a little bit of red there too and blend that. Okay. Let's see. We've got a little bit of shading right here, this like kind of nostril area. Okay, we're almost done, guys. It's pretty exciting. Okay, let's see, where else? Oh, we're missing some components here. All right, so right here, we're going to come in and do like these upside down B's. This is similar a little bit to that. And they're all about the same height. And in here, right next to this kind of component that looks like it's fitting something else, we're going to do some little lines like we did over here. These are the finishing touches that I want to get done before we do finish the shading. All right, we're going to have some lines that come in this like hump shape here. Come down like that. And then another one over here. And then there's these little circles in here. Little tiny circles. Okay. Now we need to finish up this section right here. So this is going to come out just a little bit farther on each side. So that way it looks like it's in a sheath. And then we can erase out that extra area. All right. So let's bring that down. So it looks like it's encased in something. You need permission to reference the access photos. Did I not? Hang on. Where is my Discord? Here we go. All right, hang on just a second. Let me just make sure. Permissions. Read. Everyone should be able to read the messages. Oh, sorry, I didn't have read message history turned on, so sorry about that. Let's see if that gives you permission. I'm still learning all the Discord stuff, you know. All right. So, where were we? Okay, so we're going to have here these same things that we've got going here, we're going to do here. We're going to do these like upside down B's. This just gives it like a little, it makes it look like it's fluted. And you've got some kind of lines in here that make it look more industrial. That. All right, let's see. I think we've got everything. I'm looking. I think we've got everything. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish shading. So I've got that over there. So I'm going to shade the back of the goggles on the other side. I'm going to use my spreader for a little while. Let's see. So we'll shade. We're going to shade right here. This is what's nice about a spreader. You can actually draw with the spreader. Okay, so we've got a shadow that's coming along the edge of everything here. This is going to make it look kind of chrome-like. All right, I'm going to blend that. Oh, it worked. Good. Yeah, I think I just forgot to set the permission to see the history. Sorry about that. All right, let's see. Where else do we have shadow? A little right there. Let's see. We have a little shadow here. Maybe just a little there. Oh, we've got some shadow back here. All right, now we've got on the legs, we've got a little bit of shading on either side here. I'm not entirely sure of the purpose of this particular shading. And then the inside of each of these, that is so it gives it depth. So I think that's what this shading is for, is to show that maybe these are like, they start out like kind of indented at the bottom. Because these here are supposed to look like they're kind of hollow. The same thing here from the top. Because they're supposed to look like they're kind of, you know, indented, like that there's like a curve. All right, there'll be a little shadow here. And maybe a little bit on the side. Little shadow there. It's going to be shadow inside of there. Let's see. Looking. Oh, there's shadow here. And you can do this lightly with your pencil if you don't have a spreader. Okay, there's quite a bit of shadow in here, so I'm going to actually use my pencil first. And then come in with my spreader. Oops, and you know what? This line was never really detailed, so I'm just going to detail that. I think that's pretty good. All right, we've got some shadow here underneath this ridge. Oh, and then last but not least, we're going to get a little bit of shadow under here. And it's going to come down from either side. This is shaded here too. You can put a couple lines here. All right, and get the bottom. Almost done, guys. I'm going to shade this. Now, I'm shading the whole thing, and then I'm going to go back in with an eraser. Just in the middle. Just to give it that chromium feeling. Like that. All right, let's see. There's a little bit of shading here. There's some shading in this section here. And it comes up from both sides as well. And we'll do the same thing, just a little bit of eraser in the middle. Gives it that chrome feeling. That metallic. Oh, you know what? We need to make these bolts. So let's just do that. And kind of emphasize the edges there. And I think I'm looking at the final drawing. I'm looking to see, but I think this is everything. Let me just double check. Maybe a little shadow at the bottom of these things. Yeah. I think that's it. I don't think that there's anything that we missed. So, ta-da, guys. We are finished. So, what's really important is to sign your work. So, I'm going to, that's not where that goes. I'm going to sign. And then we are going to do a very brief critique, and then I've got to go because I have a meeting. So, let's take a look at this and see. I think overall it looks pretty good. I mean, I think that it looks like a frog. It looks like a steampunk frog. And looking at the picture, it's pretty darn close. I can see one little place that I could use a spreader, and that's right here. There weren't very many places that we put the red, and that was intentional so that it doesn't stand out too much. I could probably work on the shape of my balloon here a little bit. In fact, I'm just going to real quick just do a little bit of inking. And all that means is that you're coming in and just highlighting the outside lines. This is more common in, we don't really do this in traditional drawing. This is more of an illustrative thing. So yeah, excellent. Did anybody follow along with me by any chance? If so, I can pull up my Discord. No, wrong thing. Okay, so this would be where you would post it, would be an art crit. Here's the reference photo. So that's what we're drawing. And I do see a place right now. Let's see, hang on. Right there. So let's just I'm just going to get a spreader. And I'm going to use my spreader and just kind of do some shading there. That is it though. We got all of the rest of it. Pretty impressive. For me, this is impressive for my very first steampunk anything. It gives me courage to do some more steampunk. So, that will be forthcoming. Since nobody followed along with me, you can actually go back and watch the video on demand. That will be available very shortly, because as soon as I end the stream, it will upload that video. Thank you so much for joining me today. Tomorrow we're going to be doing watercolor. We're going to do a watercolor rooster. I'm pretty excited because it's very bright. Most of my watercolors are, it's not that they're not bright, but they're very natural looking. This one is bright. And so I'm pretty excited about that. So that's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. I hope to see you there and have a fantastic night. Thank you for joining me.